Weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV begins right now. Great to be with you as always. To my left is Corey. To my right is Ira. I'm me. You guys are you, and you're watching and listening, and we appreciate that. Don't forget, if you're watching on Warchant TV, to like and subscribe. Helps others find the show and allows us to do what we do, and we appreciate you very, very much. This hour brought to you by our friends at Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
We had some andouille last night.
Ooh, what was the occasion?
Well, it wasn't really much of an occasion, but we made it an occasion just because we had the andouille. We were looking for something quick, and Kim looked in the freezer, saw the andouille,
she said,
realized we had the jambalaya mix, and made it happen. Somebody gave me grief on Twitter the other day about desecrating the greatness of Register's andouille sausage and mixing it with a prepackaged
jambalaya. I can see that.
But look, man,
it's
we need something quick.
I was at a
Twitter for that.
I was at a baseball tailgate, and they were cooking Register sausage out on the grill, which was cool. And then we had a discussion about how you pronounce andouille.
I have no idea.
I don't think it's andouille.
Andouille,
I think is the correct pronunciation. But I feel like I'll say andouille if I want to.
Well,
either way, it's great. It goes in my mouth,
so that's all right. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, you got to ask to find people probably in Louisiana.
Yeah.
To let us know for sure.
Ben probably knows.
Get a hold of a Cajun and let him, weigh in on the matter, right?
But
I mean, should we take their grammar advice? The Cajuns?
Generally speaking, no. But maybe
the
about
way
a
of a
specific
pronunciation.
Word, yes.
Okay.
Well, we don't argue with them either.
No, absolutely not. No, Saban even knew that.
If you live in the greater Southeast, you guys have seen the map now on social media. Registers is available across the Southeast now at a bunch of different
Taking
stores.
over the country, really.
And if it's not available at your local grocery store,
rise up.
You can rise up and protest, or you can order it at registermeats.com, and it will come fresh and delicious. It'll change your life.
You know, how much do you think coaches hate having to take these stupid pictures every time kids come in for the weekend?
you like
it's
them?
The dumbest damn thing on earth that has taken hold over the last 3 years. It's just like it's a prison pose every time. It's the dumbest damn thing I've ever seen. And now everybody has to do it. And I get it. I would hate it. There'd be no way for me to pull it off, like to fake that smile and do that. I hate it.
You could dance around them like Brian Kelly does. I guess that worked with Jaden Daniels, dance.
We could put our asses up against one another and dance around in a circle.
Yeah.
We could just do it.
It's the normal coach-player relationship.
Yeah, it's that kind of hip relationship.
Yeah.
No, I hate it. And I know that every time it happens, it's a way to signify to our subscribers on warchant.com, really any article that comes out anywhere across any platform that has to do with recruiting, there's the shot of whoever made it in for the weekend, like the highest profile kid like that with whatever other guy in a uniform like that and a coach behind him.
There's a spear. There's usually a spear
there's
around
usually something
somewhere.
Yeah, and every time I'm like, that's stupid. That's ridiculous. It makes me not want to click it.
You might not be the target audience.
Who is the target audience?
I feel like
for
you're
that
definitely
picture?
not the target audience.
Well, I'm sure I'm not.
Yeah.
But I think if I were 18, I'd go, that's dumb.
I think it's like the 16-year-olds. Like, man, I can't wait to pose for a picture like that one day.
Literally all of them, all the recruits talk about the photo shoots. Like that's one of their highlights.
Well, I could see if you're a kid being able to don the uniform would be cool as hell. Like, especially because now you're that close to your dream. You can almost reach out and touch it. Putting on the actual uniform, you'd have that forevermore. I could see that.
Got the cool lighting.
But then the posing with the dudes behind you. No, man.
How about the ones where their parents get suited up? The mom in the football uniform and the dad.
I haven't seen those.
I'm just going to stop speaking. All of this is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But young Braxton Meyer, Rivals 250 defensive back from Texas, who was here this weekend.
FSU, says he can't wait to be here.
Can't wait to come back. So you can read about that over at warchant.com. It was a big recruiting weekend, big football weekend. It was a big weekend.
I was not dismissing all of that. It was a great weekend, and we were all out there together. We had a great time. I mean, we as in us co-workers, but also my fellow Noles. We were all out there for baseball and basketball and football. It was glorious.
Softball had a big crowd. Yeah.
So that was fun. Great weather for it. It's all going to turn. All going to get ugly this week. That's why everybody's running out of town.
I don't think it's. I don't know if it's ever been nasty this week. Like TPC is always awesome weather. Usually,
but it's going to be horrible. And as a gambler, I don't know what to do. I normally have my fix. I got winds and rain, and the tournament's going to be delayed. And we're talking about like freezing cold. It's going to be 27 here on Friday or Saturday.
Ooh,
what are we doing?
Sounds nice.
Imagine those folks over in Jacksonville like had their tickets all year long. Like, really?
Yeah, they're
what we're
golf
doing.
fans, though.
Yeah.
You don't feel too bad for them.
No, I'm saying they'll live. They'll
Yeah,
make it. They'll
yes.
jump in their Lexus and drive back. But
It's
they'll be
right.
okay. Yeah.
It's going to decrease the percentage of sundresses.
Yeah,
that's true.
greatly. And there's usually a great advantage to following Adam Scott at TPC Sawgrass for the aforementioned sundresses. You won't get that now. Now that you're going to be everybody bundled up, big rings and a big expensive coat. I would say,
Lynx play.
yeah, no. So it should be ugly, but anyhow, nonetheless, I am excited the same way everybody is for the start of spring football, and that's what's happened this week. Obviously, we were there on Saturday and kicked it off, and then I didn't go yesterday. Tom went. You guys were there, I assume.
We were.
Yesterday. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm more of a can we get some pads on these guys kind of guy.
Right.
I
Tomorrow,
watched,
shoulder pads anyway.
a little bit
Yeah.
better, a little bit better.
Do
Still not
do
great.
some thudding.
It was
Yeah.
cool. It was kind of cool for even Norvell. I mean, he keeps stopping himself now. Like every time he's talking really highly about, especially the freshmen and newcomers, he'll kind of stop himself and say, well, Wednesday's going to be good when we can see him in pads because, they all look good right now.
Everybody's excited
Not
about
all
that.
of them.
Well, most of them look good right now.
Everybody's excited about the pads because, look, you got a depth of linemen now on the offensive line. You want to see how they perform in real physical moments in practice against the defensive line, at least the starting four, which I think will be good, the front four, I should say. I want to see that. I can't evaluate these linemen other than the numbers this week in practice until they put on pads.
So if a guy's dropping passes now, you don't think it's going to get better when they
Probably
put
will
pads on?
get worse. Yeah, probably will be about the same. I would
Maybe
think.
When there's a
pads-
threat of getting hit, you think they're going
Yeah,
to start
that's
having
when
more
he
problems?
narrows down the focus and becomes Jerry Rice.
There's but the receiver core, I mean, for the most part, the new guys look good. Even some of the returning guys, man. I wrote about Ja'Kai Douglas today. I didn't want to write about him on Saturday because it was just one day.
Yeah,
But
sure.
then on Monday again, he looked really good. I mean, he looks like a guy that
And they even said he's a little slowed. Like Norvell said he's,
which is weird because
I
he
didn't
still looks fast.
and I haven't seen that, but yeah.
Well, I think everybody wants to know about Johnny Wilson, and he had a good day yesterday.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know, really, of all the receivers, it's the new guys. We want to believe Malik McLean will take a step forward, even though we've seen him, and that's great. That's fine. But it's mainly that we want to see, what Johnny Wilson does, what Deuce Spann does, what any of the guys that came in do, because those are the guys that obviously are tasked with the responsibility of getting this thing turned around. Because last year's group that was here, any of the names you want to throw out, Keyshawn Held, anybody else, they weren't any good.
Yeah. I thought bringing these new guys in will be good for all of those guys, but especially Malik McLean. And Ron Dugan's talked about this when we spoke to him on Friday. He said a lot of times when a guy has success as a freshman, they come back the next year thinking, okay, I'm just going to be better because I'm a sophomore. Like I'm going to do twice as good as I did last year. And his point was, no, man, first of all, people know about you now. And second of all, they've got these other players here now. So I think that's going to be good for him. He can't come in and think, okay, I'm going to get 30 catches or 40 catches this year because it's my second year. They brought in some other guys that can play, and I've got to rise my level.
Yeah, he might not even get on the field. That's what the beauty of it is. He might not even get on the field. Burrell probably thought, okay, when I'm healthy, I'll definitely be on the field. I might be a 25 catch guy this year, maybe 50. Man, you're not going to be on the field unless you raise your level of game. And that's what's so encouraging is just the competition aspect of that position.
I will ask you the guys this, because again, I missed yesterday, but a couple of things that I took away from the first day, which was of the newcomers and new faces. I caught myself being surprised more than once. The freshman tight end is Brian Courtney. Is that his name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the kid comes with a little something there. I was impressed when I saw him on Saturday, and I had to ask somebody, who the hell is that? And he looks the part, and he's actually got some giddy up to him for his size. So I hate to give you guys hope about a tight end, but I'm telling you, I perked up a little bit watching him. He looks like a guy who might be able to contribute right away.
The Friday luncheon, when I was just shooting the breeze with Norvell, mainly about literally the first 5 minutes was me asking him if he ever talked to the ACC about that nonsense at the end of the Florida game, where they're getting the first down. And he's like, yeah, we did have a dialogue, and
he doesn't want to talk about
it. I don't think I understood their explanation, but we did talk about it and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, but so when we were talking, he mentioned two people. He's like, there's two guys that have really stood out, or he thought would be better than even he might have expected. And that was Ja'Kai, what he had done in the winter, and then Brian Courtney. He's like, that kid can move, man. He just can move.
Well, and the way they identified him,
he's an athlete.
It's an interesting story because he did play mostly quarterback in high school. He played some defense too, but it was at one of these combines. He went to one of these Nike or Under Armour combines where they do the testing, and his numbers were so impressive. He was like one of the top performers at any position, and he's a quarterback, and they offered him pretty soon after that as an athlete. And a lot of teams liked him on defense. he liked the idea of playing offense, and Florida State likes him as a tight end. Yeah, he can move.
And he made a really good catch in one-on-ones yesterday, like a contested catch, like over the shoulder, like almost wrong shoulder type, still made a catch. And then caught another pass, I think, on the sideline, and just has some twitch and some wiggle to him. And he played quarterback, and Deuce Spann played quarterback in high school. To me, Brian Courtney looks much more like a natural pass catcher right now than Deuce Spann has. Deuce Spann still got a lot of work to do to get on the field. He's got all those wonderful measurables, but you watch him, at least in this early portion, you're like, okay, that's a project. Brian Courtney is too, because he's a freshman tight end.
But Deuce Spann's got to take the top off. Of
yes, he could. Yes, that's really, really. So's Corey Wren. If some issues there with catching.
Back
but it's
to
also a
Deuce
different
Spann.
body.
Back to Deuce Spann. That's the kid that I'm sinking my hopes in. Perhaps because he went to Lakewood High School in St. Petersburg, and usually those guys go on to become legends.
You went to Lakewood?
Yes.
Have they ever been good? Like, have they won anything since y'all left?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if you were on the best ever team in Lakewood.
They honored me at one of Deuce Spann's games. Well, my team.
They honored you.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
Me. Yeah.
They honored you.
Yeah.
Jeff, can you come back into town?
They asked me and the rest of the 89.
Deuce has been asking about you.
Well,
he's heard the stories.
I didn't know who Deuce was. He was on that team.
That makes two of you.
We walked the But I would just say this, that I didn't even realize he went to Lakewood. That's how sorry an alumnus I am.
Yeah.
I had no idea. When we were getting ready to go out there to watch practice, I was going through the roster. I was like, oh, my man Deuce went to Lakewood. And everybody's like, yeah, dumbass, we told you that. I just ignore people. I don't listen. I'm doing my own evaluation.
So 2 greats, Lakewood greats now in Tallahassee.
No,
3 with William Floyd.
Yeah, William's usually in Orlando, but when he's here, we just keep adding on.
Yeah, he might be 1. He might be 1, though Jeff's 1A.
I mean, it depends on what kind of body type you're looking for. What you're looking for out of your football players.
About football playing prowess.
Probably William Floyd.
Probably William. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com for better style, quality, and design. Go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Were you sold a lifetime of dream vacations only to get stuck in a timeshare with a lifetime of rising fees, point scams, and lies?
I was completely taken advantage of.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group, has been fighting and winning battles with timeshare companies for over a decade, canceling over 16,000 timeshares, resulting in $257 million of timeshare debt eliminated.
I believe that it's my job and my duty to help people out of their timeshare if they've been lied to and they've been done wrong.
If it wasn't for Wesley, I would be broke.
Wesley Financial Group has thousands of verified reviews, averaging 4.9 and 5 stars for a reason. They get results.
I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
For your free consultation and information kit, call now. 800-969-5511. 800-969-5511. That's 800-969-5511.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Your local family-owned glass company, serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. At Seminole Auto Glass, we care about your safety. Insurance will send you wherever it benefits them, not the quality of service. There's a difference in auto glass companies. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass.
They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
Better call Seminole.
There was a time when a person's word was enough, a time when a handshake meant something and integrity really mattered. Farm Bureau Insurance continues to live by these principles. That's our pledge, and it hasn't changed since the day we got started. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. I'm Andy Cohen with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Please call me at 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. From Hurricane Kate to Hurricane Michael, Tallahassee has been through a lot, and we've been right here with you because helping you is what we do best.
Hey, this is your chiropractor, Dr. Ryan Finn with Finn Chiropractic, encouraging you to spring into health. People are outside, working and playing, enjoying Tallahassee's beauty, but new injuries and sinus problems are blooming everywhere. While we at Finn Chiropractic have helped thousands with spring-related issues, the only way to know if we can help you or your loved one is to come in for the phenomenal health evaluation. Go to finnchiro.com to take advantage of our new patient special offer. That's FENN, finnchiro.com. And remember, your chiropractor loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Khalil Young, thank you, sir. Always appreciate your contributions to our efforts. He writes, I understand, not really, why most college football fans don't like Jimbo, but to think some think that LSU will make the playoff again before Texas A&M is crazy. What do you guys think? A&M ought to make the damn playoff real soon. They've had loaded classes, and they may have just signed the greatest class in the history of recruiting. Now, that doesn't usually come to bear immediately.
Right.
But it's not as if they haven't stockpiled some classes here. Now, again, they're also in the toughest division in football. So,
do most college football fans not like Jimbo?
I don't think he's well liked,
but I don't think he's polarized.
Well, the disingenuous rant that he went on most recently might have.
In 2013, he was pretty disliked.
Oh yeah, he was pretty disliked.
Well,
as was
that
the
was
entirety
more
of the program.
Yeah, and then all of 14. Yeah. Well, I guess so. I would imagine A&M gets there before LSU, but I mean, who can know? Somebody's going to transfer into LSU. Maybe somebody just did already with Jaden Daniels. He's going to make them immediate playoff contender.
Yeah, I saw where that occurred, and I don't know what to think of it really, one way or the other. I think LSU.
He's not Joe Burrow.
No.
So he dodged a bullet. He's not Caleb Williams either. So, but he's good. He's better than what they had.
He's 1-0 against the Noles.
Yeah, that's right. He wasn't good in that game, but he got the dub, didn't he?
He was not as bad as James Blackman.
Yes, that was the box he checked off.
So he's like, wait a minute, Blackman's not there anymore?
Oh, this can be a game?
I don't know what this question means. You guys know what that question means from Mark? Can you read it? You can't read it?
Nope.
All right. He wants to know if I have a boom boom room at the corner pocket.
Boom boom room?
Is that like a sex room? What is that?
I don't. It might be a champagne room, maybe.
Champagne room
Yeah,
type thing?
yeah.
I don't know what that is, Mark.
Do you need to know? Like, do you have a room?
I wish I had.
Couldn't you just say no matter what boom boom room is?
I would if I actually had a room. I'd have been like, oh,
yeah, you have
God,
rooms
no.
for all kinds of things in the corner
You just
pocket.
don't know
You don't know if it's a boom.
I don't know
room.
if it's called a boom boom room. Corner pocket is an awesome place, but I live clear across town. If I was gonna have a secret room, it'd be somewhere near to my house.
There is a big side room there. You can.
I love the side room.
Yeah, we had our Christmas party there. Yeah,
maybe it's the boom boom room.
could be. Wasn't any boom booming going on though.
Why wasn't it? Was I sick? I didn't go.
No, you didn't go.
I think I
You
was sick.
were kind
I
of
think I was sick.
Yeah,
uppity
probably.
or elitist or something. But we
Yeah.
ended up. I won a lot of cool things that are. We got to thank Gene, man. The prizes were incredible.
Yeah, that's right. I got the last pick.
I got the
because-
DNA send off
Have
the
you done
DNA
it?
thing.
Yeah.
No, I've been lazy, but I am going to do it. I'm very excited about
I
it.
feel confident that's going
It's
to happen.
gonna happen, man.
Yeah, no, hey, by the way, basketball. Tom is convinced that we're going to put a scare in Duke in the second game. He believes we're going to beat Syracuse and that we're going to put a scare in Duke. Either one of you see that? Because I don't.
No.
I think they'll beat Syracuse. I don't think.
I don't even know if they're going to beat Syracuse.
I
I'm
mean,
real bullish
it's they lost to Syracuse by 2 points. They beat them by 3 points. It's like flip a coin. They could beat them.
Yeah, but they don't have any other players.
They might have Caleb, right? We think Caleb's going to play.
He's gonna play. Yeah,
played
he
Saturday.
just
I know,
played
but he
well.
got hurt at the
No,
end.
but he looked fine.
All right, okay.
I understand why you'd question it though.
He looked fine.
Yeah.
I think. I think.
They didn't have Malik in the first game either, or the second game up there. They beat him without Malik. So, yeah, man, if they hit shots, if they hit threes, they'll win. If they don't, they won't. But they're not going to win the ACC tournament. But it was cool the way they finished off the season.
To win 3 straight,
Yeah.
to get to 500, to guarantee that they have a winning record on the season, given what they were a month ago.
Would you take
I'll
an
celebrate that.
NIT bid?
I would. Yeah. I originally wasn't sure, but I think at this point I would.
There's a risk there. What if our man Cleveland goes for 28-12 against Wichita State in a meaningless game?
If he wants to go, he's going to go. But I mean,
you'd hate to give
I think
him.
if he's already decided to go, it's nothing.
Well, he might be on the fence, and he's
I don't know that he's on.
Look at me in the postseason game.
The postseason.
It is the
Ding,
postseason.
ding. Yeah,
it's the postseason.
It is the postseason. I think they have to win that Syracuse game to get into the NIT. I don't think they're in the NIT just yet.
And I don't think they'd host the game either way.
No.
They'd probably be on the road. So yeah, all you have to do, I think, is have a winning record to be eligible for the NIT. But and they will have that. Which again, we were sitting here 4 weeks ago, and I didn't think they were going to win another game.
No.
And then
there was a chance they wouldn't. Yeah.
And I think they went 4-1 in their last 5, right?
Yeah, they went 3 straight to close and 4-1 in their last 5.
And then the awful Wake Forest loss or the Boston College loss in the middle. But you had the North Carolina and the Boston College games, which were just disasters.
Well, those games were screaming they're done.
Yeah, but then they fought back, man. That was cool to see.
What's funny is Leonard blocked the Boston College game from his memory. He always, whenever he talks about this season and basically the one time they felt sorry for themselves was the North Carolina game.
No,
yo, man.
Hey, what about the BC
week later,
game, my man? Yeah, that was as bad a performance as this program has had in 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe it's wise to block those kinds of things out of your head. No, it didn't happen. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. The other games, what game?
But if they get all these guys to come back and you see what Butler's becoming or what he could become, he's still got to gain, legitimately 30 pounds, 40, 50 pounds. I don't know. But with the crew they got coming in, maybe they get, we think maybe Polite is one of the guys that might come back, could possibly come back with this crew of Fletcher, McLeod, Cleveland, Worley, Butler. All of a sudden, you start and the guys coming in, you'll probably get a transfer. Caleb Mills.
They're going to have to get a transfer. They're going to have to do something with the roster to get an experienced big.
Yeah, but they have some guys now that have proven it at this level. They weren't allowed to just get slowly walked into.
No, I agree.
These guys should all have confidence because they've all made plays in big moments and big wins, and so it just seems like it's going to be a unique. Next year will be unique, and they could be darn good if the roster breaks a certain way.
The reason I would play an NIT game is really more for, sometimes you do it for youth or whatever, but I would actually do it for the seniors. I think Harrison Prieto, it's been cool what he's been able to do this season. Give him one more game. Raekwon Evans, give him one more game. Your guy Wyatt, give him. Just give those guys one more chance to play. That's why I would do it. I don't think it's about building for next year.
Settle in with my popcorn and catch that final Wyatt game.
Right.
Pumped up for that one, guys. Here we go.
And Tenor Ngom. One more dose of Ngomination. Hey, he played.
Yeah, his best game.
Perhaps,
yep.
He played well.
There's so many of these great games to choose from.
You keep rattling them off game after game with that kid.
If he had been healthy.
Oh, but we could celebrate together at Seminole Headlines once more because it's never going to get old watching the end of the Duke Carolina game.
Unbelievable.
It was the greatest thing I've seen in sport in the last few years.
Do you think those kids have recovered?
I hope they reached out to their family and friends
back in New Jersey or in Connecticut.
I almost tweeted thoughts and prayers. They were a mess.
Blithering idiots. They were weeping. Clown children.
I didn't quite understand it either because it's not like
it's a regular season game.
It's not career,
but they haven't. I could understand if
I would never understand. There's no circumstance.
A 65-year-old just thinking of all the good times watching this Duke program over the last 40 years.
Get a little
emotional,
a little verklempt. Not sobbing.
But yeah, I guess people did it at Bowden's last game too. People got sad about that, but at least they won. These people were crying because they lost, not because it was Krzyzewski's last game.
They're crying because they're entitled losers. It was ridiculous.
That's true.
Stop
That's a good point.
That's
going to be memes all over.
Oh,
Twitter
it's
and Facebook.
It's everywhere.
One of our friends in the media up there, Hayes, he tweeted something about he called them the crying crazies.
It was just there was in particular a group towards the front,
and the TV cameras were all up in it.
They zoomed in on them, and those guys, the guys were holding the girls who were sobbing uncontrollably. Yeah. There was a bro just behind him who was wiping the tears from his left eye. What are you guys doing? And that was happening at about the 5-minute mark. They knew that game was lost.
Have some real adversity in your life. Have a challenge, so you're not crying about some old multi-millionaire.
You can't pay the electric bill.
A regular season basketball game.
The Villanova band girl. That made sense because they lost at the last second. The game was over. And I do get mad at TV producers when they zoom in on 11-year-olds that are
little
crying.
Kids,
come on, man, leave them alone. They got to go to elementary school tomorrow, and you can't control your emotions when you're that age. When you're a 20-year-old, I don't know, chemistry major, You don't have to cry about that, man.
I mean,
you ever
even
cry?
a tear would be one thing, but blubbering.
But like
sobbing.
Your tears will come down. If
You
you're
got
sad
the
about
news
something.
that you lost a loved one.
Yeah.
Just weeping like your 30-year-old brother just passed. I mean, what are we doing? It's a basketball game.
Hey,
last time you cried as a kid watching a sporting event for a team you loved.
Ooh,
I'm not going to tell you because I'm not going to give you the satisfaction.
No. So it was the Pirates beating the Orioles.
79, buddy.
What a comeback. Down 3-1, and we, our family, said, no, we will not be denied.
I remember thinking
I
to myself,
violently vomited the night of the Super Bowl with the Falcons. Does that count?
But it wasn't because you were.
Well, it
You
was
were
the
28%.
anxiety. It was the anxiety that had been built in my stomach for 2 hours. But then, there was also other stuff going on. I would say the only time I remember crying was 84 Auburn game. The
Okay,
40, so I was 9,
You were
8 or 9.
yeah.
It was the 42-41 game where they
that's a
lost.
toughie.
That was a bad one. I don't even know. Yeah, so that's the one and only time I didn't cry at any of the wide rights. I mean, I was in high school by then. That would have been weird.
I almost cried at one of the wide rights when I was in college.
Yeah.
I was almost the guy on television. Yeah, I was almost that guy. No, I didn't cry, but I was angry to the point of.
Yeah, there was anger there. There was real anger there.
Real anger. I can't fathom getting angry the way you do in your early 20s over sporting events. In your early 20s, you're an idiot about sporting events and the results of them. Like, if you win, you're a jerk too far the other way. If you lose, it stays with you for days. Imagine, like, a game staying with you for days on end. Now, there are losses that I lament, things that bother me. Like, listen, and somebody just brought it up here. 93 Notre Dame hurt.
Yeah.
Hurt. Let me ask you this, though. If they don't come back and get the win in the championship game in 2013, after that season, that team,
man,
that quarterback,
Tom.
if they didn't win that game.
Oh, well, I would have had some things to say about Jimbo, but I wouldn't have cried. I wouldn't have cried.
No,
I would have been.
The anger would have rested with you for a little while.
You would have made other people in your orbit cry.
Yeah, no, well, it was funny because Tom went through the lost decade. I was fortunate enough to be in school here, early 90s, started coming to games when Corey, same thing. We got to see the dynasty build, watch all of that, right? I had been to the 2 national championship wins. I'd been to all the national championship games, but I had seen the 93 and 99. Tom had never seen them be good. Like, he had gone through the hell while he was here. So we go out there, we're sitting next to each other there in that auxiliary press box, and like, it's looking like we're going to lose that game. And I can see the look on his face, like, are you effing kidding me? Now, I don't think he was going to cry, but I could see that.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But
little baby Lang.
That's why that kick return is one of those emotional moments when they finally climb the hill. When he gets to the corner and you realize he's gone, you do feel that sense of like, holy Jesus, we can win.
And the fake punt. I think the fake punt was another moment where it's like, oh,
okay. All right. We're not going down without a fight. Here we go. All right. Yeah, no, I think once you get past a certain age, 20, I mean, when you're in 20s, you can't be crying at a football game.
I don't think even in your 20s you can cry.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Those Duke kids were all in their 20s, presumably.
Weeping
Uncontrollably.
Their hero.
The people who should have been crying are the people who allegedly spent $100,000.
Yeah, imagine spending $88,000 to watch them lose or whatever it was. I can't imagine anybody really sold it for that much, right?
Did you feel bad at all for the Duke players? I felt a little bit bad for the Duke
yeah,
players.
man. Every time, like JJ Redick and Christian Leighton, they're good
not
dudes.
Those guys, the current players.
You were so devastated for the turmoil that caused JJ Redick.
And Christian Leighton, man, another bad day for him.
Not worried about those guys. I mean, the current players.
Yeah,
that was a really brutal situation for them to be thrown into.
That was obviously a choke job.
Yes,
but it was an incredibly pressurized situation.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, imagine having all the best players in the school's history,
good player
right there,
that's still alive,
just shaking their head at you as you give up another dunk or another three.
That's when they weren't, I was like, man, they better be up by 10 with like 3 minutes to go to win this game. When it was neck and neck, I was like, they got no chance.
Tom wrote, Baby Lang is a nickname reserved for the ladies, just so you know.
Right.
And
Sorry,
then,
Tom.
And then Darren wrote, Baby Lang's new EP dropped on Spotify.
No, Lil Lang.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV continues in a moment.
News now.
The Tallahassee Police Department has released 2 incident reports for shootings that occurred over the weekend. Saturday evening, officers responded to gunshots heard in the 1700 block of Joe Louis Street and found shell casings on the ground. An uninjured adult male who was believed to be the target came forward but did not cooperate with officers, and no arrests have been made at this time. At 2:41 a.m. Sunday morning, officers responded to shots fired in an apartment complex on West Tennessee Street. Multiple shell casings were found in the road, and the victim stated that a round had gone through their window, striking a shelf and refrigerator. Evidence was collected on scene and no injuries were reported. No arrests have been made. Troy Anderson, the Taylor County deputy that was shot during a traffic stop on February 22nd, has been released from the hospital. Over the weekend, the office shared an update from Anderson's wife stating that he's been able to go outside and that his pain was controlled. The suspect that shot Anderson, Gregory Ryan Medema, was later killed during a home invasion attempt in Dixie County. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon with a chance for scattered thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 81. Winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance for isolated rain showers tonight. Lows around 65. Cloudy skies expected. Overcast skies again tomorrow. Isolated thunderstorms likely. Highs around 75. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 81.
Are you looking for some extra cash, or maybe you're looking for some stable work, or perhaps you know a friend looking for some work? Well, consider joining the team at the Lawn Johns. Lawn care and landscaping is rewarding work. Just ask any man who admires perfect mow lines after a fresh cut. Get paid to be outdoors and work for a family-owned local company with health insurance and paid time off. Call the Lawn Johns today at 322-2567. That's 322-2567 and apply today.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Live spectator, you're right. JJ Redick has matured into a really good talking head for the NBA and college basketball. He's good. He's fun to listen to.
I listened to his podcast a good bit too.
He's good. Yeah. By the way, I actually admired his performance here when we were all over him and he just dropped bomb after bomb after bomb.
Len Elmore doing the TV at the time?
Could have been, probably.
I think it was Len Elmore in pregame because the Noles Zone kids were right behind press row. You might have been with them. I don't know, but they were just killing him in pregame. And he kept looking over and talking back. And Len Elmore turned around to the students like a dad. He's like,
don't do it.
You don't want to do it to that guy. And he dropped out on 36 or something.
Yeah, if you've got that kind of what for to decide, like, I know I'm hated and why. I know where I am. And I know that this is going to be the way it is no matter where I go. And guess what my answer is? Here comes 40. Here comes Man, you got a special what for in you. I mean, listen, I always admire that.
Otherwise, it might have just been a sleepy Tuesday for him in Tallahassee, Florida, and just kind of cruised.
What's one of the reasons I actually kind of admired, even though he's an ass, but I mean, Christian Laettner was never afraid.
Man, that guy.
Never afraid.
He was talk about onions. I mean, he was an awful, he'd kick you in the onions.
Right.
He was an awful person, it seemed like, but he was an incredible basketball player.
Yeah. And never afraid. I do admire anybody that has that much pressure on them and is hated and they know it. They're like, bring it to me. You know, especially when they realize that they can handle it and maybe their teammates can't. And then it's sort of like, I always thought, when Jameis was here, he handled that as well as you could, at least in terms of, blocking out the distractions and going out and performing in the midst of a.
Wouldn't it be cool to have another person here hated? Like just a Florida State player that's hated?
Good.
Yeah, that they're hated.
Yeah,
well, that's what I mean. Yeah. To be so good that they're hated because it's, I don't think Jordan Travis is that guy. Not that he's not talented enough, but there's no reason to hate that dude. He's a good person, it seems like.
Yeah, no, you want the team to be so good and consistently so that people go, I hate Florida State. And then when you ask them why, they don't have a good reason. And then therefore, the reason is, well, that's because they're beating you repeatedly.
I think Jamie Robinson could be a guy that people didn't like. They watched him in practice. There are times when I wonder if FSU's receivers feel real good about him because, man, he will let you know about it.
Yeah. He was doing a backflip yesterday too. I like that kid, man. He's a good person to have on your team. They have that's the thing. We haven't talked much about it, but they do look different as a team. I think we talked about on Wake Up Warchant where somebody was like, "Oh, we heard this all before." Where you'll write positive articles and then they ended up being 5-7. I'm like, well, you never heard anything about us saying that they looked like a full legitimate team last year, especially at this time. Those receivers were god awful last year. Yeah. Even in shoulder pad, even with just helmets, they couldn't make plays. They couldn't make plays in 1-on-1, they got dominated.
You were hoping that it meant the defensive backs were that good, but even if they were, there's no excuse for in 1-on-1s just get. But
now, especially yesterday, it was close to domination by the wide receivers on the other end. I mean, they were hitting big. It's 1-on-1s I'm talking about mainly, but again, 1-on-1s last year they didn't do anything. They couldn't get open even in 1-on-1s.
Well, they never made a play on the ball either,
but now they're hitting 40-yard, 50-yard passes. They're getting 5 yards of separation, which I know you're thinking, well, that's not great for the FSU DBs, but at this point, you got to have receivers that go make plays, and it looks like that group is taking a significant step up.
And the caveat that we keep throwing out there is, no, it still doesn't look like what the teams you see in the college.
It's not Alabama
playoff.
and Ohio State. Yeah. This isn't Jamison Williams or whatever that kid's name. They don't have one of those, but they are better. I think appreciably better.
Yeah, they look more like the teams they need to start beating than they have the last few years.
Yeah, I describe them as having more players that look the part. They're not anywhere near where they want to be because the standard here is to get back to winning the conference and trying to compete to get back to the college football playoff. There are ways from doing that. So if you understand that everything we say is under that umbrella, that, hey, they're not close. Like, that team's not close to winning the conference, I don't think.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
I don't think they're that close. I think they're 2 years away at least.
Well, I'd say that's close.
Then when you're this impatient and it's been this long, it's hard to wait 2 more years.
We're not here saying they're going to make your reservations for Charlotte.
Well, we're excited about the improvement they made at wide receiver in terms of talent.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if Kenny Shaw walked in right now, he'd be the best receiver they have. And he was the third best receiver in 2013.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
they're not where they need to be, but they're better. And it's okay to be optimistic about them improving.
Yes.
Like, I think that it's such a balance. Like, you want to tell people, look, a lot more guys look the part. They have better depth on the offensive line. They've got greater experience here, and here. Some of the athletes and the level of athleticism in terms of depth of athleticism has improved greatly. You can say all those things, and you're not then saying they're going to win the ACC, they're an 11-win team, and they're
right.
You're not saying that. You're just saying they're better. They continue to get better. I think that's an accurate statement. I think there's definitely more guys now that look like they could play at more elite level schools. Like you've never seen this depth on the offensive line at Florida State. We have not seen 7 to 8 guys that you feel good about.
Yeah,
here in a long time.
Yeah, I think 2 years ago, the goal for Mike Norvell that first year, getting through COVID and everything else, taking over the program that had been depleted and just run down over the last 3 or 4 years, was to get guys to just play together, try hard, try to understand what they were trying to do, just being trying to function. Then last year, especially the second half of the season, it was like, okay, now it's trying to raise it to a point where you can actually beat some teams. And then now this is a team where they may be favored in some of those games. Like, they may actually be the team that you expect to win some of those games. Last year, a couple of the games they won, we did not expect them to win. This year, I think you're going to expect them to win some of these games.
It'd be pretty cool to be favored again in some games. Like, for a while there, we sat around talking about, you're allowed to upset people. And that was because we were always the underdog.
Right.
And so you're like, well, you got to pull an upset here or there. It'd be nice to have to, protect
maybe a 4-point favorite on the road.
How about that? What are we doing here? We have flipped this baby. Look at this.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a little while. So that is the hope. And I do think there is an awful lot, to me anyhow, there's an awful lot for us to kind of look forward to throughout the spring on into the fall, because I think the competition that you were alluding to earlier, Corey, is the thing that should excite everybody. That's how you get iron sharpening iron, buddy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get the intensity in practice that carries over to success on the field. And they have not had enough guys to provide that competition. Each of the last 2 years, I know they haven't had it.
And now the positions that I think going into last year were the 2 biggest question marks by far. Although you could throw linebackers in there too, was O-line and wide receivers. This time last year, you didn't know, number one, you didn't have any bodies either place. Parchment wasn't in school yet. And then now they're like, you've thrown a ton of bodies at it. You have addressed the problem. And now you've got to now it's their job to find 4 or 5 guys, 5 guys on the offensive line and probably 5 or 6 guys in the wide receiver corps that can go play. They can go make plays and be game changers.
The thing that nobody's going to believe us on, and it is what it is. He's going to have to prove it in the fall. But Jordan Travis looks great. I mean, he does.
Again, helmets.
That is one we are going to have to wait and see.
No, I mean, it's not like he's going to get hit.
Yeah.
No,
I agree. But he's never
looked like he looked.
No,
right now.
he looks so much more poised and calm. And again, what I was saying there is, let's see when the pads come on, what it looks like, how many more times he's taken sacks. But yeah, man, he looks poised. He gets the ball out on time for the most part. And when he doesn't, there are some hitches there still where he's not getting it out on time or getting it out quick. Well, it might be, we're not seeing this,
right.
the all 22. They might not be open. But the beauty is if they're not open, he can still make something happen if they're not. But and on those deep balls that he's thrown, specifically in 7-on-7 and 1-on-1s,
the deep balls, he's never thrown those that well.
He drops them in there like they're from tears from heaven, Jeff. Probably Clapton's best song, would you say?
You're going to give us a little?
Yeah, probably Clapton's best song.
No, I don't want to hear it.
You can't give us a little?
No, I can't remember the words. Who knows that song? It's a ridiculous song.
Would you know my name if I saw you?
Yeah, it's a really sad story, obviously, clearly, but not his
Plus,
best.
he's turned nuts.
By
the way, Russell Wilson to Denver just now.
Oh, really?
Here we go. That division's crazy, huh?
And Aaron Rodgers is
nobody cares.
Staying in Green Bay for the next. He gets $153 million guaranteed.
Highest paid quarterback in history.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson to Denver. Okay.
Maybe Jameis to Seattle.
Here we go.
Maybe Seattle.
Could be Jameis back to Tampa Bay.
Well, that's true. Is that a possibility?
It's been
I know
rumored.
it's a possibility. There's some smoke out there.
A little bit of smoke.
Okay.
I don't know if the fire's there, but a little bit of smoke.
Okay. Nice.
Seminole headlines. 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Every great construction project, whether it's a new addition or renovation, starts with a plan. At T-Spark, we are excited when our clients contact us to assist with that plan. Through our team of architects, draftsmen, engineers, we can help you with your project's planning and design, potentially saving costs in the long run. Whether you have a residential or commercial project, we look forward to working with you. Call us today or visit us at tsparkconstruction.com. License number CGC 1525336.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
If you know me, you know how I feel about supporting local. You also know that I love dad jokes. So it really bugs me when somebody I know calls anyone other than Paul's Termite and Pest Control. This year marks 50 years that Paul's has been servicing our community as a family-owned business. That really means something. All treatment decisions are made right here, not some corporate headquarters 100 miles away, but right here. Local knowledge means they know exactly when and how to beat certain issues that are unique to our region. All decisions about North Florida made by North Floridians, and being local doesn't always mean small. Paul's is the largest locally owned termite, pest, and lawn company in the region, but you'll always get the small town treatment and quick service also. Paul's offers a same-day treatment guarantee if you call by noon. If you see something in the morning that's not supposed to be in your house, call Paul's and they'll get them all that same afternoon. It's that easy. For the elimination of termites or any other pests, and for a greener lawn too, visit callpauls.com.
What's important when shopping at a gun store? Let's start with a friendly and knowledgeable staff. Then add top-notch service, great selection and pricing, and a personal shopping experience only found at a locally owned and operated business. And Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Well, that would have been a fun conversation for the world to get to
You'll
hear.
never get to hear the end of what I was going to say.
We didn't get the rest of the sentence.
All right, boys. So, yeah, breaking quarterback news on the show. That does look like that's real. So we'll have to see.
And then going back to Florida State quarterbacking, yeah, I thought Travis by far. This is the first spring he just looks completely and utterly comfortable in what he's doing,
Well,
which
he should, right? He should look completely comfortable.
And yesterday we saw him like getting onto guys when they weren't.
Yeah, that was encouraging too. Like getting onto a lineman, getting onto a receiver. It's the kind of stuff that that's what a quarterback needs to be.
There's nobody who's not rooting for Jordan Travis. I mean, even if you're critical of his play at times, it doesn't mean that you don't like him. I love that kid, and I think he cares deeply, and I think he would be a good leader, especially he's in a comfortable place now. If he feels comfortable and he feels like it's his team, and clearly he does. We were all out there when you asked him the question. That's a guy that ought to lead, ought to feel good about his place, and hopefully does take those steps. He's going to have more weapons and more time.
But it's a weird thing from our standpoint as people who write about the team or talk about the team, because you really can't go too far down that road because nobody wants to hear it.
Well, and
until
also,
they see it.
and in fairness, like I'm not sure we want to go too far down that road. I mean, we want that.
Yeah,
kid
but
to
you do want to
succeed.
acknowledge that if say pads come on and he looks as good as he has these first couple of days, it's worth noting.
Yeah,
that he looks different.
It's your job to note it, and I will note it too.
And you don't always have to throw a qualifier in there. Like we know what you guys think. You're gonna roll your eyes,
but what you do is say, look, man, what you do is you say, look, he's looked great. We'll see if it translates into games.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's going to probably light it up in the Duquesne game. The first real chance for everybody to
The
get
Dukes,
on board.
The Dukes got no idea what's coming.
Yeah, they have no idea.
The first real chance that everybody will have a chance to get on board with this is how does he play against LSU?
And but another thing that we noticed, I think you were out there. I know you were out there on Saturday. I don't know if you saw it at the time. The play that Travis had where he ran around right end and he ran past Akeem Dent. And it's like, okay, he's gotten faster too. Like that is a weapon. That is his unique weapon. And he's improved it.
He's always been fast.
Yeah, but that's the point. He's even faster. Like he looked noticeably faster. Now again, shorts.
Yeah.
Helmet. But he was faster than Akeem Dent. I didn't know he was that fast.
Every time he runs, I don't care.
Right, but that you should because it's a weapon.
He's fast and he's going to keep using it as a weapon. He'd be dumb not to.
If he has
to use it.
But if he gets faster as a runner, that's an improvement. But I know nobody wants to hear that.
No, but I also don't think that I've never felt like, if he was only faster, the offense would have been more productive.
That's not the thing.
I wasn't saying that. I was just saying it was noticeable that he had gotten faster, which is good.
I think he looks faster because he's in shorts. I don't know if he's any faster. We'll see. In a game, he'll use that skill set because it is unique.
Yeah.
The same way he always has. And that's great. And we know he can do that. It's all about passing in rhythm, going through progressions, doing that on time accurately. And that's what I want to see. And I want to see him do it with pads, with better competition.
Yeah.
And I think he's got a chance to do it. But I want to see that. That's all I'm waiting on, more than anything else. Because he dropped balls in the bucket last year at times. On those wheel routes, nobody throws that better than him.
Yeah,
man.
he does
did
a
a lot
good
of
job on those.
Yeah, so, I know that's in him.
I just haven't seen him this consistently.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's good to point that out because if he looked the opposite, we'd point that out too. If he said he didn't look good, so you're going to want to be fair. But him running around, that's nothing for me right now. And he is fast. And that's not, I'm glad to see that hasn't gone anywhere.
And the question though is, and we'll know by April, what are they going to do with his backups? Like, is this it? Or are they going to need somebody to be his backup?
So I think that's the more intriguing part of spring is, and
Those two
on
guys.
into the fall, how intense does the competition get? Is AJ Duffy good enough and far enough along already to compete with Tate for that second position? Because it's a big deal.
What we don't know is what his knowledge of the offense will be.
Right.
I mean, we
know he's smart. We know he's a coach's son. We know he's a football guy. We know, all those things, right? So
yeah. But in terms of ham talent, yeah, man, I think he's a better passer than Tate Rodemaker is. We'll see. I mean, it's 2 days in shorts. But I don't know that means he's necessarily going to pass him. But I also don't know that. I mean, I wrote this the other day. I just don't know that they're going to go out and get another quarterback. I mean, I don't know who people keep coming up with this theory that they could get an experienced backup. I don't know who that unicorn is. That's an experienced college quarterback. That's going to come into Florida.
Well, maybe the kid that's at LSU right now.
So if you get somebody else that's inexperienced, they're not going to know this offense. They're going to come in the fall, and you're going to feel better about it than you do with it. AJ Duffy and Tate Rodemaker.
You could take a kid at a lesser school that has had lesser competition but played in games and had success that maybe has a similar skill set, so that you don't have to change the offense too much if he were to go down. I'm not saying it would be something that you go, oh, well, thank God we're saved now if he goes down. I mean, your season's probably
yeah.
if
You look around college football, and I just did. I looked around the ACC at least. There's only a couple teams in the ACC even that have a backup that you'd feel good about, that can play in the college level. Not a lot. It's not the NFL. A lot of teams don't have dependable quality backups you feel good about. They didn't have one when Jameis was here. I mean, after everybody left that spring, it wasn't like they.
Well, and Coker wasn't experienced either when he left. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't even experienced. Well, Jameis wasn't either. The only guy they had that was experienced was Trickett. He bounced it on to Morgantown.
It all to me, it all just speaks to a lack of confidence in Jordan, which is fine. But creating this issue that Mike Norvell has failed to go find an experienced, proven backup. I don't think many of those exist in college football.
Not ones that are proven, and they are experienced, like you said. There just aren't. Like who would come? Yeah. Why? Who goes in the portal to be a backup? And what school is looking for experienced backups at quarterback? You're looking for starters. That's what USC was looking for. That's what LSU was looking for. It's what A&M was looking for. You're looking for guys to come and compete. There's nobody out there that's probably going to compete with Jordan Travis for the starting spot. So you're fishing from a different pool. And that's why I suggested an FCS kid or a Division II kid, somebody that's played a ton of football at that level that would be at least grateful for the shot. Not a kid that just got bound, like the kid at LSU who was going to start until they got Jaden Daniels.
But I don't think did they even know who it was going to be.
Well, it's the kid that's been there before. Miles Brennan, maybe. Is that his name?
Yeah.
I think he's been there before. He's been there since 17. Like, yeah, he might fit. But why is he going to come to Florida State to be a backup? He could be a backup at LSU. So it's really a small pond to fish from to try to find someone. But, you also your season can explode if your quarterback gets hurt.
But
now,
I think,
a lot
but
of
I think most
seasons
teams
would.
Most teams would.
Maybe.
Most teams would. How many teams are going to survive their starting quarterback with? I mean,
no, I wouldn't. I don't. If you're a national championship caliber team and you lose a guy,
different.
no. But I'm saying like there are teams that survive. We fall off a cliff. They can't do. Well, I mean, last year, obviously, if Jordan didn't play, this was an unmitigated
1-11
disaster. It looked
team.
like children playing quarterback. So you don't need that. That was extreme.
That was extreme. You can't have that.
You can't have that extreme.
But I don't know how you
had
fix
zero chance to win if Mackenzie Milton came in.
Other than Duffy, well, Rodemaker too. That they have a month. This is a big month for them and a big August and off season.
I'd love to see Tate take that step. He's been here. He's physically talented. It's been a mental block for him. It isn't the physical tools.
I think they must have added a lot to them yesterday because both of those guys looked a lot better, I thought, on Saturday than they did on Monday.
Yeah.
And Norvell talked about how they increased the tempo. They threw a lot more at them. And I think that's what showed. And you didn't see that with Jordan. You did see it with
Tate
them.
has to take that. I mean, this has to be a good spring for him. I can't. If it's not, then just move on with AJ Duff as your backup. I mean, come on, Tate. We've been here a long time. You're talented. I'm a fan of that kid. He's physically
and he's an athlete
talented.
too. He's
a
an
good athlete.
Yeah.
He's been here. He cares. We know he's working hard. It's not a matter of a lack of effort, but he has got to do it.
And he's the son of a coach too.
Well, and if he just doesn't, at that point, if it's not happening, then it's here and you need to move on because it's not gonna. I mean, maybe it would. I know we had this argument once before.
These scrimmages will be huge for him.
It's really important
big
for him. I think he's got to have a good spring. And if not, that's why I brought up the Duffy thing, not to dismiss or to besmirch Tate necessarily, but to say, okay, well, I think we've seen enough of these. This will be what, third spring, right? So wouldn't we be like, okay, that's.
But if he's getting outperformed in scrimmages by a freshman, that would
it'd be time. It'd be time.
Also, you need to tell Jordan to not get hurt. I don't know when you have that meeting. When do you have that sit down?
Sit down with him.
Yeah,
now, listen. This year,
look who's behind you, man. You can't get hurt, so don't get hurt. But we still want you to run hard.
Didn't it seem like he ran smarter last year? Like especially later in the season, it seemed like there were a few times where
but look, man, he got blown up at Wake Forest on a Hail Mary. He got blown up at Florida. I don't think that was on a run. those are the things, like the Hail Mary one just bothered
Well,
me
the
so
Florida
much.
one, the Florida one was a blow by. He got sacked, landed on his shoulder, and he
Yeah.
got up, and he was an instant.
Yeah.
And that shoulder
So,
always scares me. I don't know why.
I don't
that
think
is,
he
but-
gets hurt running. It's the protection. So theoretically, the protection will be better. So he
Yeah.
should be safer and more upright and healthier.
I would argue that it's not theoretic. They're going to be better up.
Yeah.
Period. They're going
Wes
to be
Harris
better.
pancaked the kid yesterday in pass protection in shorts. I mean, that's something. Good
At
for
least
him.
you know he's got the requisite mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what that group is up front when they put the pads on, because you can't learn really anything about the offensive line or defensive line until they put pads on.
No, like Burst had a sack yesterday.
Yeah,
But it's like, did he really? I mean, he was a nice move. He spun inside, and Travis was right there, and he touched him for a sack. But it's like, I don't know, man. I want to see what it looks like, at least in shells. That'll give us a better. It'll be a better tell.
Headliner questions forthcoming. Hang in there. We'll get to them momentarily here on Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
I can't tell you the joy I felt in my heart watching their fan base weep as Coach K and that Duke team lose at Cameron Indoor by a lot to their most hated of rivals, who took an extra measure of joy and exuberance and certainly demonstrated it with each and every passing minute in which it became obvious that the Blue Devils would not prepare.
Well, and it also reminds you that Coach K can just straight up be an ass, like a total self-love, machine of an a-hole. That's what he is at times. Now, there are other moments where he will praise other players and other programs
Yeah, he
for
does a good job of
doing
that.
well. Well, he likes winners. He doesn't like when you fail him, and that's how he sees it. You have failed me. Well, there are countless examples. He had the back issue years ago, and he wouldn't let the players
wear the uniform.
Wear the uniform with the logo.
Yeah, remember that? We were laughing about that.
He was laid up in bed, and they were summoned to his house. This is a real story. They were summoned to his house only for him, bedridden as he was, to say, "You don't deserve to wear our logo."
Yeah.
Like, what? And then Life Spectator put it in the chat last hour. He forced them to sit on the visitors' bench. The visitors' bench after they lost. And he apologized for them because they were such a disappointment and they ruined the day. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so glad it went down the way that it did. And for North Carolina fans, that's got to count almost like a Final Four because of what they did to that program that day and that building being like a funeral. It was amazing.
Yeah, that will never go away. I mean, that will always be there. They'll always have that at the bar to bring up. They'll always be able to go, yeah, what happened at the going away party? And you're right. It was evident in the speech that he gave in which he attempted to be humble and gracious, but it was too much for him. He was pissed. He was livid. Now, there's a part of me that gets that. I mean, to go out there and to lay that egg in that game, even less so about, hey, it's my send-off, it's my final game, but it's your rival, your arch rival in Cameron, and you got an ass beat. Continue to pan the crowd. Please show me that. Oh, there she is, crying, weeping over. She's still crying. She was crying with 4 minutes left in the game. What are we doing? Then there were the forlorn, distant stares from the former players, sort of a how dare you guys let us down to this magnitude.
And the current players like, thanks for dogging us. Like, you're really pulling no punches right now when this should just be a grand ceremony of a legacy. Instead, you failed me. Shut up. Let me say what I'm going to say. Like, what? Get my family out here. Keep them away from the players.
I don't want their suck to rub off on them.
Mickey, come here,
Oh,
Mickey.
it was so good.
It's time to save some money and fill your tummy. Text the word foodies to 850-230-9456 and win 10% off your first order at foodiestakeout.com from great local restaurants like Horizons Grill, El Jalisco, Jerry's Midtown Cafe, and many more. Text the word foodies to 230-9456. That's 230-9456. Join the Foodies Takeout family and text foodies to 230-9456 and win now.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
It's time for Seminole Headlines featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. It is time for headliner questions. Before we get to it, thanks to Dr. Birch Orthodontics. Just got a game plan. What are you doing? What are you doing over there?
I maneuvered my head so it looks like the Registers logo is a chef's hat on my head.
I see what you're doing there. Yeah. So I would note that back to what I was trying to say. Dr. Birch,
You asked.
Dr. Birch set up a game plan for kid number 2 yesterday. I got the game plan in the form of an email. Very excited.
Plan of attack.
I'm very excited. Very excited.
Very excited.
Yeah. So here we go. But on to number 2, which tells you that she does a great job, because if number 1 had not gone so well, I wouldn't be doing this. 3 of your kids. So yes, we are endorsing heavily Dr. Birch at Birch Orthodontics, who I saw at the baseball game on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dr. Birch was there with her son,
Oh.
and I was there with Bryce.
Yeah.
And,
Where were
you
they
walked
sitting?
right past her.
I didn't see her.
I see how you
That's
are.
too bad.
He's big time, man.
Yeah, man. I was going to
You
the
were on your way
animals.
up with the animals. Is what you were
Well, it was Stephanie. Yes.
Is that where you went?
Yeah.
I mean, for like an inning,
Hanging out
because
with the
Stephanie was up there with Jamie, with Baby Lang's wife.
But birchorthodontics.com is the website, and you if you have any orthodontic need or just questions, you just want to see if your kid might need orthodontic help, go get a free consultation. And if they do take you on as a client, you will not be disappointed. Tell them Corey sent you.
Yeah, exactly right. Tell him Corey sent you.
Roger,
You get the first month free. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Multiple months.
Yes.
Well, it's a little bit different than it is in the restaurant industry.
Yeah. Right.
You get 2-3 months.
Right. Good. Great. Perfect.
Yeah, that's the way it works in orthodontics. Roger writes, Jeff, Silver Fox, and Sweet Pea. I think this upcoming football team may well be better by 4 to 8% at all segment groups, other than defensive end. And that spells 3 more wins. Crazy. Yay, sausage.
4 to 8%.
I think the wide receiver group is better by 15 or 20%.
I was going to say 15.
Offensive line, I'd go with 8 or 10, right? Probably.
Yeah, could be
10.
Linebackers,
probably. You got
it's marginal, one extra guy that's
but
much
he's good.
better.
7%.
Yeah. So yeah, I see where he's going. Tight end.
By the way, DJ Lundy's in much better shape.
Yeah. He looks like a different guy.
Yeah, he does. He looks great.
Moving. He had a couple pass breakups
There
on
we
Monday
go.
too.
Those are well, I don't know. There's a lot of positions where I'm curious to see how it all shakes out. But linebacker's another one. Like who's, they have 3 returning starters, and they brought in Tatum Bethune, who had 108 tackles.
And he's
going to
play, by the way.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see. I guess it's him and Deloach with Gaynor. But it's gonna be interesting to see.
Jonathan writes, I keep hearing that Coach Norvell would be on the hot seat if he doesn't win 8 games this season. I don't think that's fair. 20 shouldn't be held against him. 21 wasn't even a full recruiting year. 22 should be his first real year. He needs time like Dabo had to build a program. Well,
he'll be on the hot seat.
Let's
If he goes 6-6, I don't think he's fired, but he'll be on the hot seat going into 2023.
it would take a lot to get him fired this
Yeah.
year, just financially.
But the hot seat the next year,
He
for
would
sure.
absolutely be on the hot seat the next year if he goes 6-6 this season. And that would be fine with me.
Well, and I'll be honest, this offense has to take a jump. It has to. That's what he's here for. He had the number 1 offense in the country at Memphis. and you can't be 100th in the country at Florida State 2 and 3 years in a row. I think it will take a jump, but it has to take a jump this year. You can't be.
The good news is we both think it will.
Well, yeah, 77th in their 90th in the country or whatever it is not good enough.
I feel like I'm that guy right down the middle when it comes to understanding the need for real patience and the undertaking that he and his staff had when he got here. And I forgive because of a lot of the factors that other coaches haven't had to deal with. Early signing period, first year, you get absolutely screwed. Then you've got COVID.
Yeah.
I know everybody dealt with COVID, Jeff. Yeah, but not everybody was on their third coach in 4 years. Don't want to hear that nonsense. Anyhow, I do think that he should be given a large berth, if you will. But
wide berth.
Yeah, wide berth. But I do think also we do need to see tangible growth, and 6-6 would lead to the following season being on the hot seat.
You never hear a narrow
I also
berth.
think, by the way, that's
it's always a wide berth.
It's always a wide berth.
Not coveted, I don't think.
No.
Narrow berth.
But I would also say this. If he goes 7-5 or 6-6, and we're talking about it being on the hot seat the following year, he may not be able to ever recover, more importantly. So even if you weren't going to fire him the following year, you were destined for mediocrity or worse for the remaining years of his time here, because trying to win over recruits after several mediocre to poor seasons, it's virtually impossible, I would think.
And it would become tougher and tougher to hire. Like if you lose an assistant coach,
right,
it's going to be harder to bring somebody in.
I already think it's harder to bring people in. He tried to do it at wide receiver and he couldn't do it. So Burke writes, how significant is having such a large percentage of the team actually here for spring going to be for development for the season? Does this help make up for year zero of 2020? Well, I think it certainly can't hurt to have 95% of your team here that's going to play in the fall.
So there are 4 high school kids that aren't here on campus about?
Yeah.
Just 4. Everybody else that signed, and then obviously all the transfers came in.
Right.
The ones that they have so far. They'll get probably a couple more after the spring. But, yeah, man, that's really encouraging. They're all here. They're all learning to be college football players.
It's not just big because they're getting this experience, but it's also big because I think it reduces injuries because you have depth. You have guys rotating. You don't have guys having to play through things that maybe they shouldn't have to play through just because you need to get through the reps.
Line you wrote about it's a great example. I mean, you had Dylan Gibbons was hurt a lot last year in playing through that, and he was your best option. You just had no depth behind him, and an average Dylan Gibbons was better than anybody else you had.
Devontae Love Taylor had to play
a lot of guys. Yeah. That was a tough thing. All right. I was a big fan of Chambray Jackson. He began his second year now. Haven't heard a thing about him since he came to campus. Y'all have any info on this kid's development?
He's out there. That's all I can tell you. Look,
you know what? By the way, you know what that is? That is a great answer.
He is out there.
But you guys ever had debt?
Yeah,
you guys ever had debt?
No. The other one is when he was asked about
throwing bodies.
It's just another body.
Yeah. What does he give you?
Another body. Another body. Yeah. That was Brock. Wasn't it?
Brock Rubel.
Brock Rubel. Yeah. What does Brock Rubel give you out there?
Another body.
Yeah, man. Look,
he's young though. He's young.
I mean, he was a defensive end in high school. They're moving to defensive tackle. So his biggest thing is trying to get bigger and stronger. They are good at defensive tackle. That's probably one of the team's best strengths. So I don't think you're going to see much of Chambray Jackson in 2022. You'd like to think that maybe by 2023 he could be a guy that plays a role. But right now, don't expect to see a lot of Chambray Jackson. If he's on the field much this season, that's probably not.
If you guys bought season tickets wanting to see Chambray Jackson, you're going to be disappointed. Buy it for other people.
That would be great. I'd like to meet that guy. Kids, let's go see Chambray.
Chambray's playing.
Let's go see Chambray. I don't know if he's going to get in, but he'll be there dressed. We're going to see him on the sideline. Trey writes, hey, fellas, it seems you guys think there's a low ceiling for what players will make via NIL. Why? I lean towards this getting unruly within 3 years, if not mitigated by those that actually have power. Because, Trey, the vast majority of kids who play college football are not worth a lot to people who would potentially give them money in the form of advertising. The right guard ain't exactly helping you sell more cars.
The problem right now is that, especially at a place like A&M, it don't matter what they're selling. It's funneled in a way where you're just getting them on campus by paying them gobs of money.
Yeah, schools that have limitless pockets.
Well, I think that's his point.
Well,
that's an issue.
But at every other place, which is the majority of them,
yes, right.
I don't think you're going to be
the
paying
people
kids.
You're competing against in the ACC Atlantic.
Now we're getting into the existential crisis that is college football and Florida State's position in.
But I'm saying, like, you're giving your players more money, NIL and otherwise, than everybody in the ACC Atlantic except for one team, and maybe everybody in the ACC period except for one team. So you can compete with them. Get past them first, and then let's worry about A&M and Alabama and what they're doing, right?
Yeah, you're a long way
NC
from
State's
competing
not,
with A&M.
Boston College isn't doing anything NIL wise for those players.
No. Caleb writes, will Travis J played Wildcat quarterback? I've asked Corey months ago on Wake Up Warchant. He said no, then gave a 15-minute maybe answer.
Yeah,
so
that's Wake Up Warchant.
That's what I do.
In a
so,
nutshell.
by the way, Caleb goes on to write, so Jeff and Ira,
Yeah,
as the
I'll sit
brains
this
of
one
the
out.
operation, what do you think? No, I don't think he'll be playing Wildcat quarterback.
I don't think so either. But, man, you have to figure out a way to get him on the field somewhere.
Let me ask
He's
you
a great
right now.
athlete.
Let me ask you right now, both of you. You're welcome back in.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Is that kid going to do a damn thing at Florida State? Because I'm beginning to think the answer is a resounding no.
Here's where I'm at. And I think we talked about it briefly yesterday at practice.
He did make a cool interception
Nah, he
in the
does
Duke
all
game.
kinds of cool things
In the
physically.
Duke
It
game, he
doesn't
made
matter.
a cool
It doesn't
interception
matter.
in the finale of 2020.
I'm going to give Travis J a lot of credit for still being there.
Me too.
And still seemingly having a good attitude of practice. I mean, he's engaged. He's playing hard. Even though right now it doesn't look like he's in the mix for a starting job. And he's in year 4 now.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best athletes in the country. So that I don't know where that goes. I mean, I don't know that he's not beating out Jamie Robinson. Is he going to beat out Akeem Dent?
Or Renardo Green?
He could beat out Renardo Green.
Well, he didn't beat out anybody at the end of last year.
So yeah, I do think he's moving back to safety, which I think makes sense, or full time to safety.
Sure.
They've kind of gone back and forth with him at safety and corner. Corner did not seem to be the right solution.
Could never find the ball.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. It's
Sometimes-
right. If I had to put money on it, I would say no.
No.
That he's not going to make a major contribution to this team. But man, it would be cool because he's certainly talented.
He's uniquely talented. And sometimes, and I don't know all of the details here, but sometimes you're just at a place and it's not going to work out for a variety of reasons that have nothing to do with the actual football. And I think he may be in that position. So, in my mind, the likelihood that he leaves this program and goes on and actually does something somewhere else is pretty high, much to the chagrin of Florida State fans everywhere when it happens, if it happens.
Like, I think back to guys that, like Carlos Williams and Christian Jones are good examples of guys that were not real successful, but you knew were supremely talented, and that staff figured out a way to use them.
Carlos Williams may
like
be
there's got to
one
be
of
a way to figure out how to
three
use
most
them.
talented guys I ever saw come through here.
Yeah.
Nobody looks like that.
Yeah,
and does
runs
that.
like that.
Nobody. Think about how big that dude was running like that. It's insane.
Well, think about the fact that he was a DB,
Safety,
then they moved him to linebacker, and he was
linebacker.
like ACC. He was like defensive player
Yeah,
of
he
the game.
played the
man.
linebacker against Georgia Tech.
And
in
was
the
like MVP
championship
of that game.
Yeah.
And then moves to running back and is a draft pick as a running back. Yeah.
Well,
unbelievable
and
talent.
instantly made an impact in the league and then ate himself out of the league. But if he hadn't done that, he'd have been there for 10, 15 years. He's a freak of an athlete.
Yeah.
He had the jump cut. His first year at running back, he had a jump cut against Miami. I'm like, where did that come from? I mean, he was a freak. Anyhow, an aside. After 2 practices, T-Money Noles wants to know, how does J. Trav's arm look, accuracy, strength, placement, and which of the transfer wide receivers is standing out the most? Well, we talked about J. Trav earlier. He's looking good through a couple practices, and that's good to know, and I would expect as much. He's healthy, and he feels good, and
Arm
he is an
strength's there,
unquestioned leader. It's all
zips
there. Yeah. In your guys' estimation,
Johnny Wilson.
Yeah, so far, Johnny Wilson.
Yesterday had 3 catches in a row.
But we haven't seen much of Winston Wright.
And Winston Wright will be likely the candidate that has the biggest impact given his experience.
Yeah, he's been very limited.
He's practiced some, but he hasn't practiced a ton.
He has been practicing catching punts and kicks, though. We've seen that, which is something you guys care about. I know.
And we've seen him run around a little bit, but they just haven't had him out there in the routes as much. But I mean, man, the guy caught 60-something passes last year.
Yeah, he's the one that's already
be the best
proven.
one.
Johnny Wilson, man, he's made 2 catches where he's just kind of ripped the ball away from a DB. Again, there's 50-50 balls, and they're like 80-20 with him. He's catching almost all of those.
6'7" with that length, I would hope so.
And he also moves. Like he's not a blazer. He's not Rashad Green.
No.
But he's not a slow oaf either.
Well, when you're that big, you have to use your body as a weapon. He's never going to run away from a DB. I mean, he's not likely to run away. He's not Mike Evans. No, very few people are that. So he's a big, long guy, big-bodied kid. If he can catch it,
I haven't seen him drop anything.
Use his body, then he's got a chance to make plays. Contested catches.
You can tell the way Norvell interacts with him that Norvell understands just how important Johnny Wilson is to the whole thing. Just the way he interacts with him at practice, you can tell. It was kind of like Parchment when Parchment got here
without so much yelling.
Right.
He had to yell at
They
Parchment
a
on the
lot,
regular.
and they had to speed him up because he missed spring. So he knows what Johnny Wilson's going to mean to this team.
We do this a lot because it was the last time Florida State was really good. But do you remember how even though Kelvin Benjamin came in here weighing 395 pounds, that Jimbo would pull you aside and be like,
and chain smoking,
395 pounds, didn't love football. Great combo. Anyhow, he was here, and Jimbo would pull you aside and be like, that kid right there. And I'd go, man, he's 400 pounds and can't move.
He needs to play tackle,
He's like,
Jimbo.
he'd be like, I'm telling you, when I get that kid right. And he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
You feel like he's looking at Johnny Wilson, a little bit better body type right now, but he's looking at Johnny Wilson like, okay, you are going to be important. I need you to get it together.
Cam McDonald even brought up. He's like, he said receivers are a dime a dozen. That's what Cam McDonald said yesterday. But he's like,
I think he meant 5'11",
5'11", 6'1".
receivers.
Yeah, he's like 6'7". It's just different. He goes, I'm a big guy, and that's different. And it just is. Florida State hasn't had somebody like that in a good long since Kelvin. And he's not Kelvin. He's not as electric as Kelvin. But man, what a target he is, and what a weapon he could be on third down and in the red zone.
And we know he's going to be he's a good run blocker. He's proven that.
Yeah.
So that's big too.
Pittman also, real quick, Pittman has looked very good in my opinion, again in shorts on wide receiver screens. He's got a little feel to him, a little wiggle and feel and vision there.
Chris writes, Norvell so far doesn't seem to overachieve, pretty much nails the median expectation outcome or a little less. So if 8 games is our ceiling in 2022, should we brace ourselves for 6 or 7 wins? It's interesting.
They went to the Cotton Bowl.
Well, you're talking about when he was at Memphis. Yeah, he's talking about here.
So that made it sound like just that's who he is.
Well, that's a fair thing to point out. So I was like, Florida State did not go to the Cotton Bowl, Ira. I don't know why.
He's thinking of 91. The A&M game.
Flashback. Mike Norvell was key.
I was like, did I just forget about a season? What is happening here? No, you know what, though? In fairness, Chris, this is where we hope that depth changes things, because Florida State really hasn't had a chance to overachieve. Now, listen, there's an unforgivable loss in there. We've well documented.
Yeah, they were a bowl team last year that just mightily screwed up.
Yeah.
Well,
they treated a
very
game like a
winnable
scrimmage, and they weren't mature
and
enough.
played the wrong person.
Yeah. A lot of things like that. But I will say that if they had anything go wrong or guys having to play hurt, they had no options behind them. You were just going to get taken advantage of. The second half of the season where they struggled to run the ball, your center was on roller skates and you had no other option.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they have options that allow them to sustain a level of play where you could win some games if you had some setbacks from an injury front. And they have not had that in his time here. So that might be something that's different that would allow him to overachieve.
Well, think about the NC State game last year. I thought, and Maury Smith, just bless his heart. I mean, at that point, his back was hurt.
Pretty well shot.
He was not the guy he was thought, and he's a small dude. And Corey Durden lined up over him and just, and he couldn't get any snaps. He couldn't make, I mean, and
it was hurtful.
And so you talk about a guy like Caden Lyles, who's 50 pounds heavier.
And that ain't happening to Caden Lyles.
I mean,
that dude is a grown-ass man.
And then you think about like the quarterback sneaks and things like that. There's just a lot of short yardage things when you've got him next to Dylan Gibbons. I mean, it's just that changes a lot.
But also, even if Caden is the starter and he goes down, well, now you don't have a walk-on or a redshirt freshman that's never played. You've got a guy that's played a lot of football as a backup.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Were you sold a lifetime of dream vacations only to get stuck in a timeshare with a lifetime of rising fees, point scams, and lies?
I was completely taken advantage of.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group, has been fighting and winning battles with timeshare companies for over a decade, canceling over 16,000 timeshares, resulting in $257 million of timeshare debt eliminated.
I believe that it's my job and my duty to help people out of their timeshare if they've been lied to and they've been done wrong.
If it wasn't for Wesley, I would be broke.
Wesley Financial Group has thousands of verified reviews, averaging 4.9 and 5 stars for a reason. They get results.
I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
For your free consultation and information kit, call now. 800-969-5511. 800-969-5511. That's 800-969-5511.
Hey Tallahassee, it's Sarah with Seminole Auto Glass. You're probably driving right now, which means you're surrounded by glass. Did you know that each piece is made differently? Your windshield is 2 sheets of glass with a thin plastic in between. This allows it to take an impact without going all the way through. Side and back glasses are typically tempered. This strengthening process is what allows them to be shattered in the event of emergency. Regardless of the glass or how it breaks, we can help. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass, proudly serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. Better call Seminole.
Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Jumping over from Twitter to Facebook, Scott writes, fellas, how much does LSU's addition of Jaden Daniels change your outlook of our game Labor Day weekend against LSU? Well, let's jump over here to Jaden Daniels, shall we? In 2020, didn't play much, completed 58% of his passes, really didn't do anything. 2021.
But they only played 4 games,
yeah.
right? Isn't that
So 2021, this is more of who he is, obviously. Completed 65% of his passes for 2,380 yards, 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Not a great touchdown-interception ratio there. Averaging under 8 yards per completion. So, listen.
You don't have his 2019 stat?
I do. He completed 60% of his passes.
From what I remember, just because when they played them in that bowl game, I remember talking to some people on in the program at the time before FSU played them in the Sun Bowl. They said basically the offense then at that point, he was a true freshman. It was just one read and run.
Yeah, one read and run is what they did.
I don't know. Last year, was he more of a reading the field kind of quarterback? I don't know if that's what he is.
They, by the way, the last time we saw them, they lost to Wisconsin, right? 20-13 in a bowl game, and he was 11 of 21 for 158 yards, completed 52% of his passes. He sucked.
He's a great athlete, though.
Yeah, I think he ran for like 700 yards last week or last year.
Not last week. He's
That
out
was
there running against Eric, killing it.
Big week for him.
Killing it. They had a game. I'm going back through the schedule last year. He wasn't good, obviously, against Oregon State. They got beat 24-10. Had some better games. Stomped Southern Cal in November, 31-6, and was pretty good in that game.
Has Brian Kelly done much with a running quarterback?
The Ian Book was he ran, right?
He ran
kind of opportunistic run.
Yeah. Well, he was heady. He was a little headier and grittier.
Jim Rat.
Kind of a coach on the field kind of kid, guys, if you know what we're saying.
Yeah.
Jaden
Daniels is fine. I don't know that, honestly,
not elite, but fine.
I don't know that he's proven more than Jordan Travis. I don't know that LSU has a quarterback advantage in that game right now as we go into that, because LSU, it's going to be his first game in that system.
Yeah, you wouldn't think they do.
You wouldn't think, and it'd be bad. It'd kind of be bad news if they ended up having a quarterback advantage.
But
in that
you'd
game.
rather face a quarterback who's not great, that's not a very good runner.
That's the issue. I think he ran
runner.
for like 700 yards last year, which is a big deal. That will be a big part of their game plan, I would think.
So to the question, how does it affect our view of that game? I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's a really important game. I think you can help shape hearts, minds, and the outlook for the rest of the season with a win in that game. I think if you lose it, again, John Desai cast upon Mike Norvell, his staff, and what's going to happen the rest of the way. I think it's that simple.
Yeah, agreed.
A lot of people be nervous walking into that stadium. I'll be one of them.
And there will be positions on that field where LSU still has a substantial advantage in overall.
Well, they've got
talent.
better players, totally. I mean, I think from the totality of their roster is better than Florida State's roster.
You'd
They'll
rather
be favorites in that game.
You'd rather them have Jane Daniels though than Caleb Williams.
You think?
Yeah. So that you didn't catch
That's a
a
good
break
point.
that kid came in March somehow and gets to practice with them in the spring, but you did catch a break that Caleb Williams decided to go to Los Angeles.
We were talking earlier about things that make us cry in sports for the last time that we did it. If Caleb Williams had transferred to LSU in time for our
That
game,
would have been rough.
Really?
Yeah.
This is what's going on with us every year now? This is
It's
what's
like
happening?
what a buddy of mine said when Leonard Hamilton was struggling during the earlier in his tenure, and they were like, "Can we just get a luckier head coach?" At that point, you'd be like, "Can we just get a luckier head coach than Mike Norvell?"
Good Lord. Mike writes, with all the talk about the wide receiver transfers coming in, how does the returning receiving core look so far in comparison? Does it look like Joshua Burrell is recovering well from his ankle injury last season? Man, he looks like a football player. I swear, if he plays as well as he looks, just body type and everything else, then he's going to be a star. As far as the other guys go, I mean, we're hoping Malik McClain takes that step. I don't know how you guys feel about Pokey. I feel like he's a 3.
Yeah.
You know, he's a 3.
Yeah, but you
instead
like
of-
him a whole lot more as a 3 than as a 1.
Yeah, that's correct. You and I
If
agree
he's
on
your
that.
3, that's pretty solid receiving core. Yeah, and he's made Pokey's look.
He has good.
Pokey's looked good, man. He had one drop yesterday, but he's looked good and made some big plays.
Ja'Kai Douglas.
Ja'Kai Douglas has probably been their best overall receiver, at least the guy that's been making the most plays and catches through the first 2 days of helmets and shorts. And
You got the upside with Johnny Wilson, and we haven't seen much of Winston Wright. So.
but he was asking about the older guys.
Oh, I gotcha.
Josh Burrell, he's made a couple flash plays. He made a really good catch yesterday against good coverage from Kevin Noles. Like it was reaching out way out to his right, hand catch, and then turning it down the sideline for a big gain. So that was because Noles was right there. It was great coverage.
If Joshua Burrell can play, if he is a good receiver, and again, with the verdict's out just because we haven't seen him much, he came here last year and got hurt in camp. Incredible leader. Like in that recruiting class, he was the guy that was going above and beyond whatever the coaches would ask those top players to do to recruit other kids. Other kids like being around him. He's just got a really good personality. He's a guy that if he is a good receiver, I think that takes him to another level just because he's really a sharp kid and a really good leader.
This is an interesting question, the way it's worded from Charlie, because he's implying here something that I think is not true. So let's go to it. I propose there be an award created in honor of Michael Ojo, which would be awarded to the big man that Jeff declares too terrible to play, then becomes a valuable starter and signs a pro deal.
I remember you did say Ojo one time. You're like, you might want to just untether yourself from the pressures of college basketball and just be a normal student.
Yes, because nobody saw that leap. Nobody saw that leap. Not you, nobody did. And then we were all excited that it happened. All right, so there's that. Past recipients would be Ojo, Kumaji, and this year Ngam. Wait a minute, Charlie. My assessments of those two players were not too far off. I think I'm inaccurate on those guys.
On what guys?
I'm not talking
Kumaje
about
and Tenor and Gom.
Tenor and Gom.
Kumaje was a good player, man.
By the end.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. I mean, you're talking about investing 3 or 4 years to get a guy to, to that level.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's we want ready-made products, and
listen,
Ojo was really good by the end, but he couldn't dunk.
He couldn't hold on to the ball. He couldn't. So the bulk of the careers, the guys he's mentioning here, I was 100% right about. Now, that said, if you're going to talk about them being able to get a contract to play overseas, well, good. I mean, I'm talking about NBA prospects. I'm talking about things like that when we're assessing what kind of big they are. I'm not talking about whether they go play in Israel and are a backup for somebody.
They did make a lot of progress, and particularly Ojo.
Well, we'll coach him up now.
It was unbelievable. You think back what he was when he was a senior and a captain.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really good.
I thought Kumaje was a good player for what he was supposed to be his last year and a half. I thought, and then we'll see with
matchups.
We'll see with McLeod. McLeod's the next one. But I think you like McLeod.
I do like McLeod.
Well,
there's enough offensively for you to like,
and also like
he's lost his hell.
Well, and he's a big dude having to switch
stiff
on guards at the top of the key. That's a tough ask for a guy like that. But man, when he catches the ball near the rim, he throws it down like he's Shaq, which none of those other guys do. Tenor and Gom missed one the other day. It was like right point blank and is laying it up instead of dunking it.
Robert writes, gentlemen, what made you guys want to get into the profession that you're in? Also,
The money.
The women.
Also,
well, that's right. Well, women first, money second.
Drugs, money, hoes, guys. Let's just go with it.
This is what this is.
Sports media.
That's what this game is, guys. It's the game we play.
Also, why is it 2013 FSU considered to be one of the greatest teams of all time? Love the show. Well, the answer to that question, the second part of that question, is Jameis Winston, Robert. If we're being honest, the vast majority of the country is never going to give FSU's 2013 team the credit they deserve, statistically or otherwise, for what they accomplished because they think Jameis Winston's a rapist. That's the answer to your question.
The ACC doesn't help it either, even though the ACC wasn't horrible back then by any stretch, but it was the thought that Florida State didn't play anybody.
And they also got tainted by the 2014 because the way they played, they just were disinterested.
They were unlikable in a lot of ways in that way because they were loaded and everybody knew it and they just toyed with people.
If that run had ended at 2013, I think people would remember that team is a lot more dominant.
But I really do think it has to do with what I said. I mean, I think that's very specifically the reason.
What was the other part of his question?
What made us want to get into the profession that we're in?
I was failing out of music school, so.
I didn't know that I should be in this profession, even though in retrospect, I knew I should have known that I should be in this profession. I come from a family of storytellers and I love sports and I played them growing up and I had a keen interest and was always opinionated about them with everybody that I spoke to. So this called me and I had no idea.
But did you realize this was a career you could go into when you were in high school?
No. Sports talk radio really wasn't
I
a thing.
knew I could be a sports writer.
Did you?
Yeah. When I was, because I read the paper every day. I read the AJC every day.
I did too, but I never knew.
And I wanted to be a play-by-play guy. I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. But then, the face didn't help. But also my GPA trying to get into the Georgia journalism sports broadcasting school, it wasn't high enough. So I was like, I guess I can do print media, and then that's how I got into that.
Even when I was in school, when I was failing out of, when I was being instructed to find a different major, I didn't even know you could become a sports writer. Like I didn't even know, I read the paper every day from the time I was 5 years old, but I just never thought that was a possibility until they were like, hey, why don't you go to the school paper? And then I did it and I was like, okay.
Next thing you know, here you are.
Yep.
I was a counselor and I was told that in order to make any kind of livable wage, I'd need to get a master's. And I decided I'd never wanted to go back to school. I was really, really lazy and not a disciplined student. And so I thought the idea of having to be more disciplined and go get a master's so that I could be depressed every day when I left work because of the files that I'd see from kids in the foster care system, that wasn't for me. A friend of mine said, hey, dumbass, you're relatively funny. You've got a good voice. You know a ton about sports and you love to talk. Yeah. And you talk about it all the time. Why don't you do sports talk radio? Oh.
Yeah, well, those aren't easy positions to get either. But here we are. We all did it.
You probably helped more people in this profession than you would have.
Yeah, I'd have gotten in trouble in the other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they would have shut down the counseling center.
Yeah, I had a hard time dealing with parents who were abusive. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Local news now.
The Leon County Sheriff's Office, along with the Tallahassee Police Department, warned individuals to be aware of a telephone fraud scheme. Individuals have been contacted by callers pretending to be from the Leon County Sheriff's Office. The caller tells individuals they are from the Sheriff's Office and instructs that the individual has a warrant issued for their arrest for not going to jury duty. The scammer tells an individual that they must pay a set amount of money in order to have the warrant dismissed. The scammer usually asks the individual to pay by purchasing a gift card. The Leon County Sheriff's Office noted that it will never call an individual and ask an individual to pay money to get rid of a warrant. An individual sought by the Miami-Dade Police Department was arrested by the United States Marshals in Tallahassee Monday. Paul Mikey Travellis Hardin is facing a first-degree murder charge. Hardin is accused of having been in a verbal altercation at Tony's Food Store in Miami on October 17th. The incident led to a shooting death of a male. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon with a chance for scattered thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 81. Winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance for isolated rain showers tonight. Lows around 65. Cloudy skies expected. Overcast skies again tomorrow. Isolated thunderstorms likely. Highs around 75. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 83.
Siri, tell me a joke.
The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
This is Sister Dot Brown, reminding you to tune in every Sunday morning from 9 to 11 for good gospel music. Here on 93.3 every Sunday morning. Dot Brown.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Of 97 patients, 33 are vaccinated, and 63% are considered incidental.
See, this is what I'm upset about. He's basically made up the percentages to look like it's at 100%, but the two are not related to each other.
What's 37% of 97?
It's 35.89.
So why in the hell can't he literally ask iPhone to include that in his articles?
Maybe he's got an Android.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Couple things. Stevens writes, is moving up to number 8 in D1 baseball's poll and sitting at number 11 in the RPI good? The Martin family haters are furious. Yeah, man, their bullpen is not where it needs to be. They got a problem at catcher until they make a change. They've got frontline pitching that will give them a chance to win every series they play. Is that a good summary of Florida State baseball currently? I think it is.
Yes, 59 strikeouts in 4 games this past week for the offense. I'm tired of that, and that needs to get fixed, changed somehow. It's not like you were facing.
You can make a change of catcher.
Well, that would help, but Cal isn't an elite pitching staff.
That kid though on Sunday could deal.
Well, he could, but he wasn't even their guy.
No, I know, but he was really good on that day. You watched that game. I watched that game. He had filthy stuff.
59 Ks, man. Imagine what Messick and Hubbard would do to the Florida State lineup. So I was hoping to see more bat on ball, and it looks like it's the same thing as it was last year, which is a little discouraging. But we're also 20% of the way through the season.
Yeah,
Carry on is a really good shortstop. They have not had something like that in a good long while.
He made several plays over the weekend that made you feel good, and they do have pop. I mean, as evidenced by those 2 monster bombs, one of them by the backup catcher.
Yes,
who listen at this point he needs to start, but it's unfortunate because you watch that other kid can't play. I mean, at catcher.
Well, he was supposed to be better defensively than he's been, which is supposed to offset
and then if you're
the
going to look at
lack of bat.
So, yeah. Ryan writes, fellas, do you think Ham has made FSU a destination job, or do you see basketball sliding back into ding-ding status when he decides to hang up his suit? That's a question we've all wondered aloud before because he has done such a good job and did turn this into a place that became an NBA factory, I dare say.
Scotty Barnes making a late push for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Watched him the other night. He didn't have his best game, but he's had a good year.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Ira, I'll start with you because we've had this conversation. I think it's a fascinating one. I don't know. It's a fickle thing Florida State basketball is. I worry about it.
It was, I'll say this. There was when there's a lot of people, there's a vocal minority maybe a vocal majority who wanted a change back when they didn't make the tournament 4 straight years.
Yeah.
There was a very real concern that they wouldn't be able to get a quality head coach at that point. So it's like, are you going to fire Leonard Hamilton and you don't know who you're going to be able to get? Yeah. I feel like from what I've heard, it sounds like other higher profile people have let people know that they'd be interested if that job comes open again. But I also think it's a harder job than people realize. So I think with Leonard Hamilton and CY and Stan Jones and Steve Smith, that staff have done, going back to Dennis Gates before them, what they've done is really, really impressive, and it has elevated to the status where people will want this job. But I don't know if people are as equipped as this staff has been to bring in players the way they have. We'll see.
I feel like every year, and this year obviously has been littered with injury, but they really don't get, in a weird way, enough credit because this is where being humble and understanding what Florida State basketball is over the big picture helps in terms from perspective.
Yeah.
When our fans write to me and say, oh, well, we lost again in the Sweet 16. He's never going to get us over the hump, this and that. I'm like, do you hear yourself talking? Florida State being a perennial power, getting into the NCAA tournament, finishing in the top 4 of the ACC, going to the Sweet 16 every year. That's not normal. This is not a basketball school, never has been. They don't invest in it like it's a basketball school. He is in a conference that traditionally, or he's had to lead a team in a conference that traditionally is a basketball conference, who do put their resources and do have the history and cachet to back up that in a way that Florida State never can or ever has chosen to. So, the walking around thinking we deserve to go to the Final Four and should is really naive. So when you say he's underappreciated, I completely agree. On the other hand, I don't want us to take a step back because he did build this.
You want to hand the baton to someone that will go even further and do even more. And I don't. The likelihood of that, though, just seems relatively small.
Unless
but it could happen.
Unless they changed how they went about
but
investing in basketball.
Yeah, but I also think if it ends on a high note, this season was not it. If next season or the season after end on a high note, then I think you have to look strongly at CY or Dennis Gates because they are a little bit younger. They've been part of this. They built this program. They're great recruiters. They've been part of. They would be continuing what you've done. If it doesn't end on a high note, if it kind of regresses, then I think you have to look outside and see what's there.
But I do think the pool of candidates will be a little deeper and better than it would have been 5 years ago.
I've heard of coaches at Power 5 schools who've let people know they'd be interested if it came open.
Mookie writes, thoughts on the Calvin Ridley situation, guys? He could have probably used some of Jeff's 3-team teasers.
Did he really do an 8-team parlay? Is that what he
did?
Put
some
on?
Sort of parlay for $1,500, but it's not even about that. It must be that Calvin is not an aware person. Let's put it that way. How do you let the world know that I don't have a gambling problem? I only bet $1,500. Yeah. My man, that's not the point. Yeah. 50,000, 1,000.
It's what you're betting on, big dog.
Yeah, you can't.
Well, you weren't betting on a UFC fight.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's rough. Not to think that he's the only one that does it. He's the only one that's probably dumb enough to get caught doing it.
Well, he did it on an app.
Yeah, I know. See, when I was losing all my money betting against the Braves in the World Series,
you went through a bookie.
I went through a bookie like a good American, like a good person would.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm still trying to get out of that hole, gang.
It is amazing that the penalty for that's going to be a year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's losing millions of dollars.
When some of the stuff that guys in the NFL have gotten away with and played 2 weeks later.
Yeah. But it's a big one though. I mean, everybody knows it in every sport. That's the thing you
hurts
can't
his Hall
do.
of Fame chances too. It's going to be tough for Ridley to get into Canton now.
Michael writes, I was at the softball game this past weekend. Corey, why were you wearing Pitt colors?
Hey man, I was at the softball game. That's all. It was I was in one of my dress shirts, which isn't very dressy, but for me it was, and it was the only one thing that was clean. So and it wasn't Pitt colors. It was navy blue. That's not Pitt. Pitt's like that weird. Pitt's that
baby blue.
I think they do.
Yeah.
They do a couple of blues.
Right, but when you think of Pitt and Dan Marino, you're thinking
of the kick-ass uniforms that they wear currently.
Yeah. So that's fine. But I was right behind home plate with Baby Lang and Jamie.
Baby Lang appreciates it, I'm sure. I'll tell T. Lizzie. Chris writes, imagine sending your kid to school at Duke only to see him or her crying over a basketball game on national television while wearing a costume of a character from Sesame Street and then getting told to shut up by the coach who lost the basketball game.
You might start wondering about what you're doing with your money.
Yeah, he wanted like one of the parents to come into the arena and like, come on, you're coming home right now.
Yeah. Take him by the ear.
With me.
This is ridiculous.
That is really funny.
Who was that? Who wrote that?
That was Chris. Chris, great job. That was really good.
What a scene. What an all-time scene. It's perfect. It was awesome. It was probably my favorite moment of the whole college basketball season.
That should be a one shining moment.
It definitely should. It should be the only moment. Just more Duke friends.
Just set the music.
Yeah.
I could watch the Chattanooga shot from last night over and over again. That poor Furman team. They haven't been there in over 40 years.
And it's like I in the same token, it's an awesome shot, but I feel so bad for the team that loses like that because they're not like they're going to be an at-large team. I feel so bad for them. But that thing on Saturday night in camera, I didn't feel bad for anybody. I thought it was
Oh,
awesome.
that was one of the greatest things we've ever seen.
It
I
was
agree
great.
with
It
you.
was just enjoyment everywhere, except for Ira felt bad for JJ Redick and Christian later.
During the second half, I felt a little bit bad for some of those Duke players just because I felt like, man, that they got the weight of the world.
Yeah.
This guy's legacy, these 20-year-olds.
They clearly didn't care enough. They clearly didn't care enough. Yep.
Kevin writes, why does Ron Dugan's hat always look like it spent the night under a tractor wheel?
That is true. Yeah.
It looks awful.
It's like he just steps on it and then puts it on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll ask him. If we get him, we'll ask him what's the deal with the hat, man.
Amora writes, a question for Corey Clark. Would he
Okay.
still support the Braves if they changed their name back to the Bean Eaters like it was from 1883 to 1906?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, why wouldn't I?
I don't know. He just wants to know.
Oh, yeah. No, Bean Eaters is I mean, look, man, that's tough to cheer for a team called the Bean Eaters.
What kind of beans
you
were they
could.
eating?
I think fava beans. That's
What
the
do you
thing,
put
right?
the chances
What,
of the
it's what
following players?
Hannibal Lecter ate?
Yeah, that's what he. What do you put the chances of the following players coming back next year? Polite, Osborne, Cleveland, Prieto, Mills. Hey, the weatherman's been great. We don't need him back.
Osborne's not coming back.
Osborne's not coming back. So Cleveland, Polite, and Mills. We'll start with Cleveland.
I think Cleveland, I'm going to say, I don't know. I don't have any inside information, but I'd say 85%. I would think it's likely.
Well,
he's
they were
gonna
the
come back.
Boston Bean Eaters.
Yes.
They were in Boston. That's why I was like, why would they Bean Eaters be in Atlanta? That isn't, what does that even mean? But it's the Boston
Matthew
baked beans
Cleveland,
nonsense.
Corey.
Okay, sorry. I would say 60%. 65%.
I'm going with 54%.
Okay.
Matthew Cleveland. Caleb Mills.
Price is right wagering. You should have gone with 1%.
I should have got 1%. Caleb Mills.
I'll say 78%.
Yeah, I was going to say 80.
I'll go about 80. I feel good about that. And finally, Polite.
I think Polite's going to come back, man. I'm going to put it at 95. I feel like if he wants to come back, I think they'll be happy to take him back. And I don't know what are his NBA prospects right now. So I would think he's
not great.
I
would
think
say
he'll come back.
88%. And also, he's been since he's come back, he's been shooting like the Anthony Polite we thought.
Great.
He was really
He
good
looked great
Saturday. Everybody does against NC State, but still, he looked great.
Jonesing for FSU writes, so asking for a friend, Corey, any betting advice? He's having fun with you.
Yeah. I had friends. I've done it every game Florida State's played. I did it on Saturday. Like, guys, Florida State, I know NC, they're favored by 6.
No, you knew we were going to stomp NC State.
Well, I still told my friends it's a part of the
running
act,
joke.
but
Okay,
they did actually take my advice again and bet NC State +6. So they lost again.
Don't
I don't
do
think
that. Why did they
not
do
Michael.
That?
It was two
Are
other
they paying
friends.
attention?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I feel like they're thinking there's no way Florida State's going to cover the spread 3 games in a row.
Jeff, we know no magical weekend in your eyes. Ira, looks like you're the tiebreaker, buddy. Immediate gut reaction. How far does FSU go in the tournament? 1 game.
1-1.
Yeah, that's what I think. Walter writes, good afternoon, Jeff, Ira, and Showtime. Seeing Duke exit from the ACC tournament after a sleepy nooner on Thursday is a real possibility. Should Stone Cold Killer Leonard pull the old okey doke in the handshake line with Coach K?
How about them? How about their staff not shaking Hubert Davis's hand?
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, that was solid.
What was that
I
about?
don't know.
No love lost there.
Hubert ruined their night.
Yeah.
I saw where Oklahoma.
You made our students cry.
Yeah, man. Look
How
what
dare
you've done
you?
to these
You just
kids.
didn't lay down as our arch rival. I saw where Oklahoma, by the way, North Carolina kids, since this is the part of the show where we normally throw a little betting advice out there, there's no real value in like the Pac-12 tournament because Arizona should win it going away. If you're going to find some value, you might take Colorado at +4,000.
What's going on right
Oregon.
now?
Hold on. I'm going to answer this question.
Okay.
I'm get out in front of it. At about +4,000. Oregon, you can get at 8-1, maybe. They've beaten a couple of the big boys this year. And the ACC, Duke is an overwhelming favorite. But I would say, look over there at +800 with North Carolina, who's won 5 straight. Their offense is humming. 3 guys averaging double figures lately. And they tried to play a little defense the other night for the first time this year. If they do that, you could really beat some money on North Carolina.
Well, rolled out there. Hubert's got him.
He's no longer just rolling it out there like Roy.
Buying in.
All right, Mike writes, I saw where Oklahoma is putting up a statue of Baker Mayfield. While this seems odd, I am curious what Nole you would put up a statue for. And why would it be Sebastian Janikowski with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth?
That would be nice.
Oh,
I would
man.
say Charlie. First Heisman winner. If I was going to do a statue of a player, it would be Charlie.
Marvin Jones.
Yeah, you could do Marvin like the butt kiss thing with holding the helmet with the jacket behind him. Yeah,
Bad
but
acid.
Marvin's kid didn't come to Florida State, so
Well, I'm
he
just
doesn't get a
saying,
statue.
well.
Sorry, Marvin.
Marvin would be mine.
The problem with Dion would be like,
Well, no,
nobody.
no.
Well, but
No.
also, but nobody looks like the hairstyle wasn't. It doesn't play.
Well, he's
20.
wearing a helmet. You put a helmet on him. You don't have to
Okay.
worry about the hairstyle.
Who is your answer? It's
Charlie.
not Dion.
Charlie.
Charlie for both of
Charlie.
you.
Yep.
I love Charlie. That'd be fine. But the defensive player is Marvin.
Of course.
We're
Nobody's
agreeing on
arguing
that?
that. Nobody's arguing that.
All right, from there, we should do what doesn't Florida have all three of their Heisman?
They do.
Yeah, it's all cheesy with the
Two of them throwing and
And
Tebow
then
running.
Tebow doing a stiff arm. Legitimately, he's doing a stiff arm running.
Yeah, that's probably wise.
Yeah,
but
it
we
makes
could
sense.
we could do that. We could have our three Heisman guys up there around the stadium.
Yeah, there's a lot of things
I'm
they could
not
do
a
around
big
there.
statue guy, by the way. I would note that the Mickey Andrews way is the one that we've been championing for the longest, and we ought to do that.
And we're going to continue to do that.
We ought to champion that. There's
You
only-
know what we should do? We should just get spray paint and graffiti the signs on that street.
Whoa!
And just
Ira is
they'll never
calling
know.
out for the public to spray
Well,
paint
can
the
you-
No,
signs.
us,
We're
have-
going
Well,
to
no,
do it.
we're not going to put ourselves in harm's way, boys. I mean,
Oh,
we're going
what's
to have
the fine? $500.
our-
We got that.
okay,
People,
Corey's
you
got
do a
our fines,
do a
Ira.
GoFundMe.
Mickey, Corey will tweet a picture of it.
Yeah,
Mickey-
I'll
Mickey will
do it as
appreciate
I'll
it.
live stream it.
I run into Mickey every now and again by where I live. You should too.
I
Because
do.
He's out by us. Yeah. So the next time it happens, let's pull him aside and be like, Mick, come over here.
You
and
got
for
any,
a
got any
second.
spray
Hey,
paint?
No, but I want to say, hey, what do you think? Is it cool? Are you cool with the three of us spray painting a sign over there? Put your name on it.
I think he'd be fine
Can we
with it.
not just go? Do they make street signs you can buy? And can we not just go replace?
I don't think
Stadium
that.
Drive
No,
with-
I think that's probably not a good idea.
You're not
People
supposed to
would be
interfere with
steady
like state
replacing
markers.
signs every which way. Jeff Cameron Way would be everywhere if I could do that, right? I mean, we're not doing
Graffiti's
that.
our play.
But
here.
you can go get. I've seen signs in people's bedrooms before.
Oh, well,
you
they
can
stole
go
them.
buy them.
But you'd have
Oh,
to
they
take
stole
down,
them.
But you'd have to take down their sign.
Right.
Yeah. No, and good luck doing that. It used to be easy back in the 80s. I know.
Oh, now it's harder.
You can't do it now. It's tough.
Oh, well,
Tough
that's
to
a
get
bummer.
those
Mickey,
signs.
we'll figure
I mean,
it out.
It can be done. I'm not laying down the gauntlet. People will go do it. We're going to get in trouble, guys. But I'm just saying, I wish somebody would do it.
We have to go to a sign maker to get them to make our street sign that says Mickey Andrews Way. That's all I'm saying.
We got through all of these.
What if we didn't take down the signs that are existing and
Just
just,
put
put
new
up
one
new
next to it?
signs next to them that say Mickey Andrews
Should
Way?
be cardboard.
No, we're-
Like kind of fun. Like we're just having fun with it. Like, hey, see, let's.
no, I want it to be a real.
People are going to
real
be
street
confused.
sign.
Am I on Mickey Andrews Way or am I?
It's
Where
a
am
stadium.
I? Where
How do I
am
get to the softball
everybody?
field?
Where are you telling me to go?
And then when the workers come out to take it down, we'll be like, seriously, you're going
You're
to
going to take down Mickey Andrews, and we'll
Take
tweet
pictures
shame
of
him.
him?
We'll
Yeah.
tweet shame him. Yeah, here's City of Tallahassee. They don't care about Mickey Andrews. They don't care about legends.
Tom Lang wants Baby Lang Boulevard. Ron Simmons in WWE garb is from Glenn, who
Oh,
says,
for the statue?
For the statue.
Yeah.
Coach K shook hands, but his assistants did not.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, the staff didn't. What are we going to do with Leonard Hamilton? The court?
Yeah,
Rename
you
the
gotta
court?
rename the
easily.
court.
But you don't. Can you just tell him you're going to do it when he passes?
No,
I don't want
Oh,
people
man,
having
come
things
on.
named Coach K's court. That's just stupid.
Well,
But he
Well, he's out
coached
there.
on it. Why does he
He's
have to be
coaching on
dead?
it.
Leonard, you can wait till he retires and
Well,
then do
okay,
it.
that's better. That's fine. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not rooting for Leonard Hamilton to die. Let's
No,
not
I
turn this into
understood.
something.
Yeah,
I'm saying that I don't like it when coaches are coaching on the court named after him. I mean,
Right.
It's stupid.
Okay, we'll go with retire.
All right, we'll go with retire.
Yeah.
And that I would do. By the
well,
way.
you can ask him. Would you rather we do it when you retire or when you die?
He's humble enough that he'd probably say,
He'd
wait
probably
till
say
I
don't
die.
do it at all. But yeah, you're doing a retirement so you can celebrate him. You can all be there and celebrate, and he can give a speech and wave to everyone.
Folks are wanting to note that the spring session will go by fast, and before you know it, we'll be kicking it off against Duquesne. I hope so. I hope so, man, because I'm excited to see this team play. We got 1 minute left, guys. We got to fill this last minute here.
Spring football game itself, like what? Because we've got 12 more practices getting ready for the spring football game. Do you think people are going to walk out of the spring football game based on what we've seen in 2 days, thinking much better about this team? Like think is it going to change what people see on the spring game? Is that going to change what people expect this season?
Not in my opinion. No, I don't think they will. I think people are going to be cautiously optimistic. They've been hurt. It's tough to jump back in there and love again.
Yeah. Plus, like last year, Milton had a good spring game, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe there is something here, and that didn't work out. So,
really, when you think about it, the disparate nature of those performances, like the Notre Dame game, spring game, and then the rest of the time that you saw McKenzie Milton, nothing could have been further from what, it didn't portend of any sort of.
What he did in practice portended to how it would look, but when he got under the big lights, like if he'd had a bad spring game, I think maybe things go completely differently.
He's not getting a statue.
But he will not get a statue, probably not.
Good job, Director Matthew. For Corey and Ira, I'm Jeff. Thanks so much to all of you for watching and or listening. Be well, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Peace.